Hello, this is my evidence of contemporary world evidence 3. My name is Andrea Robles, and we're going to talk about some of the most impact events from the last decade, the relation with the terrorists, globalization, digital era, etc. So now we're going to talk about important events from the last decade. We're going to talk about foreign specifically. One of them is the fall of the Berlin Wall that happened in 1989. After years of crumbling Germany, the wall finally came down and the country was reunited. And the Cold War ended in 1991, ending a series of political, social, and cultural conflicts between the United States and the Soviet Union. The other important events from the last decade are the attacks of the Twin Towers that happened in 2001 on the morning of September 11 of 2001. Two planes collided in a terrorist attack on the Twin Towers, and then the terrorist attacks in Spain in 2004 that happened on March 11. A series of explosions were recorded in a Spanish subway. The definition of globalization started when it's closely related to economics as it refers to the integration of different markets in the world, from hiring workers from different locations in different countries to exchanging knowledge. Then we have the definition of terrorism. Terrorism is primarily based totally on prepared crook organizations that perform acts of violence to terrorize the population, commonly for political purposes. The definition of unipolar world is based on the power and influence that a single country can have over the world. In other words, we live under a single national system with political, economical, and cultural influence. And in the last one definition, we have digital era, which is basically what we live in today, a world dominated by the internet that facilitates communication and many tasks. It can replace hard work in sometimes. The relation of each concept is that these concepts and events is very simple, with the attacks on the Twin Towers and the explosion in Spain showing terrorism at its greatest glory. Globalization and a unipolar world are the end of the Cold War, and after all, we are all under the influence of the United States. Beginning at the end of the 20th century, advances in the digital era have made it easier to manufacture weapons and explosives in the event of terrorism attacks, this bringing the Berlin down in 2021. Why did digital globalization emerge? Globalization will manifest itself in the world as a change, leaving Europe's great influence behind, and the United States, China, North and South Korea will also begin to have some power over the world. In most of the cases, what caused the terrorist attacks of 20th century? The terrorist attacks began as a series of demands for revenge and attention by jihadist groups against various governments, in these cases Spain and the United States. Their violent methods of attracting attention provoke fear in the population and the couple, and therefore unleash governments to react. A series of political and social conflicts between governments and organizations are kind that also became military. How does the end of the Cold War relate with the unipolar world? The Cold War is very much associated with an unipolar world because the goal of the Cold War was to put a single nation in power at the same time, despite what was considered a bipolar world. After all, since the Soviet Union was finally dismantled, it will be the United States, a single power whose supposed economy and culture will have a great impact on the world. How has the digital era influenced today's society? The digital age has had a profound impact on the world, facilitating communications in ways the world could never have imagined. As a result, the economy improved and the flow of ideas and culture spread more easily. See how some machines are starting to make human jobs easier. But not everything is rosy. Technology can replace humans in many tasks, making societies with less work and easier maintaining. So it has had both good and bad effects on society. It depends on how we take it. And that was it. These are the references of all the information. Thank you so much for everything I'm saying on this course.